Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and legislative assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Good morning, honorable members. We want to start the work for the day that the Lord has set for us in service to the people of Machakos County. Mr. Clerk, start.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Proceed, please.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Proceed.
Order number 3, messages.
Proceed, please.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order, please.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notice of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Thank you. Honorable members, under this order, we have one business by Honorable Dominic. One business by Honorable Dominic. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Dominic Ndambuki, MCA Kathiani Central. Honorable Speaker, Article 10, Subarticle 2 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides for national values and principles of governance such as the rule of the law, human dignity, equity, social justice, and human rights, among others, and which binds all state organs, state officers, public officers, and all persons whenever they apply and act or implement public decisions. Aware that Article 41, Subarticle 1, and Subarticle 2, A and B of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that everyone has the right of fair labor practices and that every worker has the right to fair remuneration and to reasonable working conditions. Further, Article 47, Subarticle 1 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that every person has a right to administrative action that is expeditious, efficient, lawful, reasonable, and procedurally fair. Aware, Article 47, Subarticle 2 of the Constitution provides that if a right or fundamental freedom of a person has been or is likely to be adversely affected by administrative action, the person has the right to be given written reasons for the action. Further, Article 232, Subarticle 1G, and Subarticle 2A of the same Constitution provides for the values and principles of public service to include fair competition and merit as the basis of appointments and promotions, and that the values and principles apply to all state organs in both levels of government. Appreciating that Section 65 of the County Government Acts of 2012 provides for matters to take into account during appointments, which among them include the need for open and transparent recruitment of public servants, and in determining whether an appointment, promotion, or redesignation has been undertaken in a fair and transparent manner. The overriding factors shall be merit, fair competition, and representation of the diversity of the county. Honorable Speaker, aware that there has been numerous allegations on violation of the above provisions of the law by a number of members of the County Public Service Board of the County Government of Machakos, aware that some of these allegations have been shared in the social media, and aware that the public need to know the truth on the allegations. Further, noting that these allegations taint the name of the County Assembly as a vetting and approval authority pursuant to Section 8, subsection 1A of the County Governments Act of 2012. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the Standing Order number 41, Suborder 2C, I wish to seek a statement from the Chairperson, Labour, Public Service and ICT on the following. 1. The official positions on the allegations being made on social media against the Machakos County Public Service Board. 2. The measures that the County Public Service Board has put in place to ensure equal treatment of all county public service officers. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Dominic. Members, this is a statement that is sought, and the information sought is clear. As is the tradition, members make comments so that as the committee that is supposed to address the matter is given the role of addressing the matter, the members have aired their views. Any member who has a comment? Any member who has a comment? Thank you. So, honorable members, this matter is committed to the Committee on Labor, the Committee on Labor, and Labor, Public Service and ICT to respond within 30 days, to file a report, that is, within 30 days. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, proceed.
Order number 8. Motion. Approval of report on the audit report of Machakos County Assembly Housing Scheme Fund for the year ended June 2018.
Thank you. So, members, on this order we have one business. It is indicated by Honorable Winfred Mutua, Vice Chair PAIC, but I'm informed that Honorable Alice, who has been transacting the business on this matter, is going to present the business on the table. Honorable Alice?
Honorable Speaker, Alice Nzioka, nominated by Maendeleo Chap. Honorable Speaker, that aware that Article 229(5) of the Constitution provides that the Auditor General may audit and report on the accounts of any entity that is funded from public funds. Further aware that Article 229(7) of the Constitution that states that audit reports shall be submitted to Parliament or the relevant County Assembly. Cognizant that the report of Machakos County Assembly Housing Scheme for the year ended 30th June 2018 was received in the Assembly pursuant to Article 229(7) of the Constitution. Further aware that the report was committed to the Committee of Public Accounts and Investment pursuant to Standing Order number 185 2B and C that states that the Public Accounts and Investment Committee shall be responsible for the examination of reports, accounts, and workings of the county public investment and whether the affairs of the public investment are being managed in accordance with the sound financial or business principles and prudent commercial practices. Aware that the committee, after receipt of the report, conducted several meetings with the accounting officer of the fund together with the officers from the Office of the Auditor General and consequently compiled a report. Honorable Speaker, I wish to move the motion that this House discusses and approves the report of the PAC Committee on the audit report of Machakos County Assembly Housing Scheme Fund for the year ended June 2018. Madam Speaker, I call upon Honorable Angela Munyasia to second my motion.
Honorable Angela Manasia.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand to second the motion. My name is Angela Munyasia, nominated by Wiper Democratic Movement.
Thank you, Honorable Manasia.
I now proceed to read the report, and I want to summarize the report. I think we'll be together. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of County Assembly of Machakos Housing Scheme Fund for the year 30th June 2018 by the Public Accounts and Investment Committee.
Thank you. So, Honorable Alice,
Yes, Madam Speaker.
like we've been doing with the reports, you can just point out the clauses, what they address, but for the membership, you need to state, record, for the record, for the membership of the committee. And then the legal framework, that is also, you refer the members to the clause on legal framework without having to read details.
Okay, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, membership. Honorable Speaker, as at the time of compiling the report, the Public Accounts and Investment Committee comprised of the following members. 1, Joseph Musau, Chairperson. Honorable Winfred Mutua, Vice Chair. Members, Honorable Paul Moseku, Honorable Alice Nzioka, Honorable Joanna Munyao, Honorable Josephat Kasioki, Honorable Peter Mutiso. The legal framework. Committee sittings and evidence taking, page 4. The audit queries, page 5 to 16. 4, failure to prepare financial statement that compile with IPSAS accurate format. Observation. The response is insufficient and has not included details of the issues raised in the query, such as the fund chairman's report, report of the fund administrator, and statements of cooperative governance. 2, statements of changes in equity is not shown in the amended financial statement. 3, the presented statements, therefore, were contrary to Section 1014 of the Public Finance Management County Government's Regulation 2015 that provides that an accounting officer shall prepare the financial statement in a form that compiles with the relevant account.
In a form that
With the relevant accounting standards prescribed by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board. Recommendations. The accounting officer should ensure that the presented responses to the particular queries address the subject matter contained in each query so that the response qualify the auditors to drop the query in the following financial year and avoid occurrence of prior year issues. 4.2, inaccuracies noted in the financial statement. 4.2.1, difference in comparative figures, observations. The response is,
Honorable Alice,
yes.
just take the members through the 4.21. Yeah. And when you come to the table, just refer them to the table. We need to understand what are the queries. 4.21 is just written, or there's another one. Okay.
Please.
Okay. All right, so I'm guided to a summary, Honorable Alice, is what you have actually. So then you can go ahead on your summary.
Okay, Madam Speaker. 4.2, inaccuracies noted in the financial statements. 4.2.1, differences in comparative figures, observations. 1, the response is insufficient and does not include details of the issues raised in the query, such as the fund chairman's report, report of the fund administrator, and statements of corporate governance. 2, Statement of changes in equity is not shown in the amended financial statement. 3. The presented statements therefore are contrary to section 1014 of the of Public Finance Management, County Government's Regulations 2015, that provides that an accounting officer shall prepare the financial statements in a form that complies with the relevant accounting standards prescribed by the Public Accounts Standards Board. Recommendations. The accounting officer should ensure that the presented responses to the particular queries address the subject matter contained in each query so that the response qualify the auditors to drop the query in the following financial year and avoid occurrence of prior year issues. 4.3. Inaccuracies noted in the financial statements. 4.3.1. Differences in the comparative figures. Observations. The accounting officer has not given reasons for the differences, variances in the comparative figures. The entries entered that affected the changes in the comparative figures were not disclosed. 2. The non-disclosure of the entries that caused the variances indicate that there was no coordination between the auditor and the finance office during the time of audit. 3. The committee noted with a lot of concern that incorrect entries in the financial statements was a key contributor to the adverse opinion of this report. Recommendations. The accounting officer should disclose any new entries that could be entered after the end of the financial year, that is up to 15th July as advised by the National Treasury. That affects the opening balance, making it vary from the closing balance of the previous financial year. 2. The accounting officer should ensure that accuracy is observed while entering information in a financial statement that may lead to adverse opinion and hold responsible any officer concerned. 4.4. Understated bank balances. Observation. The committee observed that errors of omissions were done in the preparation of the financial statement as follows. 1. The accounting officer has not counted for the Kenya shillings 25,034 shillings 087 cent deposited in KCB account number 1180847636 as stated in the query. The response given for the entry on surplus is contradictory on whether to adjust the figure Kenya shillings 336,260 to reflect the Kenya shillings 335,195 or vice versa. 3. A bank charge of Kenya shillings 1,065 was omitted while preparing the trial balance. 4. The surplus of Kenya shillings 335,195 was also not indicated in the trial balance. The amount of Kenya shillings 1,065 and a bank balance was a bank charge relating to financial year 2016-2017 and was also omitted. 6. The errors committed caused variances between the values in the financial statement and corresponding values in the trial balance. This act of inaccuracy was a contributor to the adverse opinion. Recommendations. 1. The accounting officer should forward to the auditor a response on the accountability of Kenya shillings 25,034 shillings 87 cents raised in the query and which was not addressed in the above response. 2. The fact that the accounting officer confirmed that the response that errors was committed that led to inaccuracies in the entries of surplus, bank charges, and bank balance is an indication that the prepared financial statements were not proofread and rechecked carefully. The accounting office should therefore ensure that accuracy is observed while entering information in a financial statement that may lead to adverse opinion and hold responsible any officer concerned. 4.5. Inaccurate trial balance observation. The response has not answered on the correct value, balancing the trial balance on both the credit side and debit side. If it is Kenya shillings 170,497,827 or Kenya shillings 171,988,787. 2. The committee in sentence 1 of the response noted the recurring element of errors that affected the fund balance brought forward. Recommendation. The accounting officer should ensure accuracy of the trial balance was a source document for preparing financial statements and hold responsible any officer making such errors leading to adverse opinion. 4.6. Unexplained over dispersed. 4.6. Unexplained over dispersed. Observations. The response has not answered what the excess over disbursement of Kenya shillings 5 million transferred from KCB to SBM represents. 2. There was non-disclosure of information in the auditors regarding inter-account transfers during the time of audit. Recommendation. Inter-county transfers should be clearly captured and adequately disclosed in the financial statement for ease of review and reference. Further, authorization to borrow is required and should be attached as supportive document. 4.7. Failure to document administrative cost and money disbursed. 3%. Observation. The previous memoranda of understanding signed between the Assembly and the Chase Bank did not include the 3% charge to be used on administration costs. Recommendations. The Assembly should provide the current status of the MOU if it has addressed the clause on the 3% administrative costs to SBM. 4.8. Failure to transfer funds to the reserve fund account. Observation. The response has not answered on the whereabouts of the second installment of Kenya shillings 25 million that was not moved to SBM Bank. Recommendation. The accounting officer should ensure that sufficient disclosure, appropriate explanation, and the audit evidence are given at the time of audit to avoid unnecessary queries. (4.1) Failure to avail cash book and bank reconciliation statements. Observation. The response is not relevant to the query since it has not addressed circumstances that led to failure to provide reconciliations as provided in Section 91 on the Public County Governments Regulations 2015 that states that accounting officers shall ensure bank accounts reconciliations are completed for each bank account held by that accounting officer every month and submit a bank reconciliation statement not later than the 10th of the subsequent month of the county treasury with a copy to the Auditor General. 2, though in response, in brackets, in the last sentence, the reconciliations were later prepared. They were not availed to the committee for scrutiny, and again, they were not forwarded to the auditor for verification. 3, the committee was concerned by why the reconciliations could not be availed to the auditors at the right time before the audit report was prepared. Recommendations. All prerequisite documents needed by the auditors during the time of audit must be availed, to which responsible officer will be held accountable. 5.0, general observation. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed with a lot of concern, 1, the most of the responses given for the particular queries are either not relevant to the key issues raised in the queries or have not provided sufficient information to counter the query. Further, the committee observed that non-disclosure of information contrary to Section 9(1)(e) of the Public Audit Act 2015 significantly contributed to the adverse opinion by the auditor. 6.0, general recommendations. Honorable Speaker, going forward, the committee recommends that 1, Section 9(1)(e) of the Public Audit Act 2015 provides that the Auditor General shall have powers of unrestricted access to all books, records, returns, reports, electronic or otherwise, and other documents of entities listed under Article 229(4) of the Constitution. In this regard, all relevant documents, information, disclosures required at the time of audit should be availed to avoid unnecessary queries from featuring in the audit report. 2, any response prepared to address a particular query raised in an audit report must address key issues contained therein. The report is a way of preventing recurrences of such queries as prior year issues. 3, any amended financial statement should be forwarded to the auditor on time before the report or before the final report is out on necessitate closure of the issues raised. Conclusion. It is therefore my privilege and pleasure on behalf of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee to table before this Honorable House the report on financial statements of Machakos County Housing Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2018 for discussion and adoption. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The report was prepared by Luke Maingi and Patrick Mwange. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Alice. Honorable members, I now propose the question that this House discusses and approves the report of the PAIC Committee on the audit report of the Machakos County Assembly Housing Scheme Fund for the year ended June 2018. Honorable members, the debate is now open on the motion. Honorable Kalumu. Sorry, Honorable Gomita, I'll come to you just shortly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Francis Kioko Kalumu, representing the people of Kilimani Ward. Before I make comments on this, Madam Speaker, I'm seeking your advice and authority and your wisdom if I can comment on the statement that has been brought forward before the House today.
The difficulty you're putting me in, Honorable Kalumu, is that I gave the opportunity. There was no member who was willing to comment at that particular time.
Maybe that time the thought never, I had no that thought at that time.
What we can do, let's first deal with the business on the table,
Okay.
then we see.
Madam Speaker, let me make my comments on the report on the fund before us. If you first go to 4.2, you'll find that there is some inaccuracies noted in financial statements. That is difference between comparative figures. Madam Speaker, in an accounting language, that means that you could not compare what is available, what is has been transferred, and actually the books of account could not inform the person who are looking at the books whether there was any transaction which happened at that particular time. So that means the figures which were there could not give any information to draw any decision over the on the committee which was making this report. Again, Madam Speaker, you find that if one characteristic of a financial statement, which is comparative, is not there, that means it has not followed the right standards which should be followed in making up of financial statements. The other one is 4.3, inaccurate noted in the financial statements. Same observation, Madam Speaker, shows that the figures, for example, let me give you a very good example of, today I've deposited some money in someone's account or in my account. The expectation is that if that money is not there, then someone should give a statement showing that that money, what happened to that money. But if you look at the differences in this, it means that some deposits which were expected could not be traced. Again, the real bank difference is that you go to 4.4, you find that the accounting officer had not accounted for 25 million shillings. Madam Speaker, that is a very big figure that cannot be quoted as errors of omission, or because errors of omissions means the figure means that a certain figure was left out when compiling a certain statement. And that shows a certain level of ignorance, either to the fund manager or the chair or anyone who was preparing the statements. And that shows that something was being hidden or something happened to the money, because that is like giving false information to the person who would draw conclusion and decision. The other one, Madam Speaker, is response given for the entry in surplus. Madam Speaker, generally, the report has drawn conclusion that the accounting officer of the fund is not giving enough evidence of what is happening to our fund. Because if you can omit 25 million, and also you cannot get to know that the bank charged 1,000 shillings, then there was a surplus. That means even the trial balance is not correct. Because trial balance has to be debited and credited. And if it is, then how did it balance if some charges were not given or were not shown? How did it balance when there was an omission of 25 million? Madam Speaker. So generally, the report shows that there is poor management of the fund, and also indicates that some money has gone somewhere where we don't know. Madam Speaker, observation on 445 is that the response has not answered